Today we're talking about the best cheeses for seniors. Now, if you are a senior or if you have a senior in your life, please share this video with them because it could literally save their life. And today, we're going to talk about 2 cheeses that you should eat as a senior and 2 cheeses you should never touch. Let's get into it. Okay, first, let's talk about the 2 cheeses that you absolutely must eat if you are a senior. The first one on my list is ricotta cheese. Now, not all ricotta cheeses are created equal. I would recommend a whole milk ricotta cheese. It's higher in fat. That means it's going to taste better, but it's also higher in calories. So if you are watching your weight, you want to get the low-fat version of ricotta cheese. What makes ricotta cheese so special? Well, first of all, it's made from whole milk, which means it has all the vitamins and minerals that come along with it. Whole milk has vitamin D, calcium, phosphorus, potassium. It also has protein and healthy fats. But most importantly, what I like about ricotta cheese is its moisture content. Moisture is key when it comes to swallowing, and ricotta has a lot of moisture. This means that if you have dry mouth or if you have difficulty swallowing, ricotta is an excellent choice. Another cheese that falls into the same category is low-fat cottage cheese. Again, cottage cheese is mostly made out of milk, so it has all the wonderful nutrients that come along with it. But what I like about cottage cheese is its texture. Cottage cheese has a very thick and creamy consistency that's easy to swallow. If you do choose to eat cottage cheese, make sure that you rinse it first. You can just put the cottage cheese in a strainer and rinse it under some water and then drain it. Why do I recommend rinsing the cottage cheese? Well, the reason is that cottage cheese is higher in sodium. It's usually around 400 milligrams of sodium per half a cup serving. If you're watching your blood pressure, or if you're sensitive to sodium, you might want to consider a low-sodium version of cottage cheese. The next cheese that I recommend for seniors is fresh mozzarella. Now, I know that this might be a little bit controversial because technically, feta cheese is not a mozzarella cheese. However, I think the texture and the taste of feta is so similar to fresh mozzarella that I just had to include it on this list. Feta cheese is another cheese that's made from whole milk, meaning that it's packed with all those essential nutrients. Plus, feta is a very dry cheese, which means you need to pair it with something moist like a salad. By doing this, you get the wonderful taste of feta without having to worry about dry mouth or difficulty swallowing. Now, before we get into the cheeses that you should avoid, if you are enjoying this content, please click the like button. This helps me help more seniors and their families navigate the often confusing world of health. Let's get into the 2 cheeses that you should never eat as a senior. The first cheese on my list is any type of unpasteurized soft cheese. Now, I'm talking specifically about cheeses like Brie and Camembert. Why do I recommend avoiding these types of cheeses? Well, the reason is that these cheeses are at high risk for carrying Listeria. Now, Listeria is a bacteria that can make you very sick. In fact, listeriosis, which is the illness caused by Listeria, is one of the most common causes of foodborne illness in the United States. Symptoms of listeriosis include fever, muscle aches, weakness, diarrhea, and an upset stomach. But listeriosis can be especially dangerous for people who are pregnant, for newborns, for young children, for the elderly, and for those with weakened immune systems. Keep in mind that the outer packaging of cheese might say that it's pasteurized, but if the actual cheese inside is unpasteurized, you're still at risk. Another cheese to avoid is any type of high-sodium cheese. And yes, that includes cheddar cheese. Now keep in mind that the salt content on the outside of the cheese wrapper might be low, but once you cut open that cheese, you're exposing a lot more surface area to air, which means that the cheese is going to absorb more salt. And this is especially true if you let the cheese sit out at room temperature for a long period of time. Why do I recommend avoiding high salt or high sodium cheese? Well, the reason is that as we age, our bodies become less efficient at getting rid of salt. This means that if you eat high-salt cheese, that salt is going to build up in your body, which can lead to edema or swelling in your legs and in your ankles. High salt intake has also been linked to high blood pressure, which is a major cause of heart disease and stroke. There are many other types of cheeses that you can eat as a senior, but today we only had time to cover 4. And remember, eat real food, use common sense, and take control of your health.